Hey, welcome back to PQF Academy. I do want to say something. I did make another mistake. I made a mistake on the last video when we were doing the pricing. Remember the lining? I had said we'd use the whole yard of lining. When we actually didn't use the whole yard of lining, we only used half of it. And I said, for example, that cost, it was like, say, $7. So what we would have done, we would have cut that price in half. So 7 divided by 2, whatever number that gives you, that's a number you're going to put down for the pricing. So other than that, we did everything else great. But if you're one of those people that don't want to do that math also, the thing about sewing, it doesn't really matter. So at the end of the day, you can cut it out as far as the whole yard goes if you want to. So let's go ahead and get into it. Besides us doing the pricing, we also made another pattern. We just made a simple slip pocket pattern, which was 12.5 by 12.5. So in today's video, you're going to need this pattern. You're also going to need our other pattern that we cut out that is our lining pattern and also our exterior pattern. We're also going to need our strap. Now, the difference with this, when we go to cut their strap out, right? When we go to cut the strap out, we're not cutting on the fold this time. I told you to mark this as the fold, but we're not cutting on the fold this time for this particular bag. We actually need 2 of these straps. I'm going to show you how to lay that out, okay? Sorry, I'm getting over a cold. Sorry about that. So we're also going to need our SF101 woven interfacing. We're also going to need our lining piece. This is my exterior. Our exterior piece and our lining piece. Also, with your pattern, you're also whatever exterior color, whatever pattern color you want as far as pocket. If you want this to be the same, if you want this to be the same, you can do that. Or if you have another type of fabric that you want to put on the inside of this, you can cut that out. So it doesn't really have to be the same color as any one of those. But for me, I'm going to use my exterior fabric as for my slip pocket. We also need our usual suspects. We're going to need our iron, our sewing machine, of course, some pins, our weights, depending on however you decide to sew, and some type of cutting utensils. Sorry. So let's go ahead and get started. My first thing is I'm gonna lay everything out as far as how I'm gonna show you how to cut the strap should be, okay? Once again, we're not cutting the strap on the fold. We're actually going to cut the strap. We need 2 of those. So I'm just gonna show you how to lay that out. Once we have all that laid out and everything cut out, come back here. Once it's actually cut out, everything cut out, you're going to take everything over to the ironing board with your interfacing, and you're going to interface everything, and then you're going to come back to me, okay? All right, let me show you something real quick. So as you can see, I have everything laid out. My main concern when I have this laid out is the strap piece, remember, okay? Because we're not putting it on the fold like we did last time, right? We literally need 2 of these. So I have this folded. I need 2 of this. I have this laid down. I don't need it to be laid down, but I'm going to use some of this also. If I want, I can cut 2 of these, but what I'm going to do, I'm going to cut one. I'm going to cut these guys out because I need double of these, and I only need 1 of this. So then I'm going to open it up, and then I'm going to cut it just singular, just 1, okay? So next time we talk to each other, everything should be cut up and interfaced. Be right back. We got everything cut out. I got my exterior, my lining, my pocket piece, and my 2 straps. Remember, we need 2 of these. 2 straps, all right? Now, I do have a confession to make. I did something on purpose. And what I did on purpose, I told us to get 2 yards of SF101 interfacing. I knew that we need 2.5 yards. But remember, when we made our first bag and we had interfacing that was left over, like small things like this, and then some strips that were left over and things of that nature, depending on how you laid your fabric out to interface it in. This is why I say keep these, because just in case if you don't have enough fabric, like I was able to get some of the fabric, get some of the interfacing there. Also on here, I had strips of fabric that had strips of interfacing that I've already had that were just left over. So this is why I say keep these types of things. Keep your straps. Keep your your scraps, not straps. Keep your straps, all right? So now what we're going to do, first thing that we're going to do is we're going to go to our sewing machine, right? Remember how we made the one long strap? We're going to do the exact same thing here, but with two of them. So the first, once again, fold in half. I take it to the ironing board, iron. You found the middle. Then you're going to meet that in the middle, iron. Meet this in the middle, iron. And then we're going to fold them together. And then you're going to sew down each side, okay? Remember, same thing we did for the first one. The first strap is what we're going to do to both of these straps. But we're not going to connect them. They're still going to be one separate strap. All right? They're going to be one separate strap. So go ahead and go to the sewing machine. Go ahead and get that done and meet me back over here. All right, so we have our straps sewn. Our straps are sewn. So you should have two. Remember, have two. Now, what we're going to do, we're going to take our pocket piece, and we're just going to fold this in half. Corners meet, take it to the ironing board, and then we're going to iron. Now, we're going to iron this down, or you don't have to iron it down. Okay, you don't have to iron it down if you don't want to, but if it's actually doing really good, then cool. Now, what we're going to do, when we go here, we're going to sew. Whatever seam allowance you like, that's the seam allowance you do, all right? So, you're going to sew down here. Then you're going to turn the corner. And then you're going to backstitch here. And then you can come over here, do the same thing. Turn the corner, backstitch right there. We're going to leave about a 6-inch opening right there. The same way that we do the same way we do this bag when we sew these together is the same thing you're going to do here, but we're just not going to cut the corners, all right? We're not going to do that corners. We're going to sew down, turn the corner, boom, backstitch, and then if you don't feel comfortable, sliding over, lifting your presser foot up, then coming over, starting a new one here, backstitch, then come here, then cut the corner. You can just start over and just go here to here, backstitch, then stop. Go from here to here, cut the corner, backstitch, and stop. Remember, we need about 6 inches, okay? 6 inches open, all right? So go ahead and do that, and we'll be right back. So I figured I'll show you this part if you're somebody who's never cut the corner, all right? Just in case if you're somebody who's never done it. So we're going to start backstitch. Until we get, you kind of got to gauge it with your eye, right? So what I typically like to do, if I think that it's there, I lift my presser foot in. I keep my needle. My needle stays down, all right? My needle is still inside of the fabric, and I turn it. As you can see, that's a little bit too much, so I just turn it back here. Put my presser foot down, and then I'm just going to turn the knob. Just turn the knob, not even use my foot. Just turn it a couple times, and then if I think that's good here, and I think that's pretty good. So that's how you turn the corner if you don't know what that is, all right? So I'll meet you back over at the table. So now we have our pocket piece all sewn up, taking the strings off, the excess. Now, what I typically like to do when I make a pocket, I like to cut the corner here, cut the corner here, cut the corner here. I cut all the corners. And then I also cut here. I like to take some of the bulk out of it, right? It makes it a little bit more easier to turn when I take the bulk out of it, all right? So I'm going to cut. I'm going to cut close as possible to the seam, but not cut into the seam. So about 3/8, all right? 3/8 away from the seam, we're going to cut. Now, when I cut here, I'm going to cut, but I'm not going to cut straight across. soon as wherever my back stitch, my line stops, like wherever I stop sewing, that's where I let off, right there. So once again, 3/8. As soon as I get towards the end of the stitching, I just let off. All right, now what we're gonna do is take and just go ahead and turn this inside out. You know, whatever you have to be able to poke out the corners, you poke it out. I'm gonna poke this out, poke it out, poke it out, poke out the corners. Me off camera, I'm gonna use my poker to continue to poke it out, poke out the corners a little bit more. So, but this is how it should look, just like this. It's all poked out, everything's good. Now what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna go over to the ironing board and I am going to iron this closed right here. I'm not gonna sew it shut just yet, okay? We're not sewing it shut just yet. We're gonna iron this all around, all right? And then we're gonna close these lips up, all right? And I'll be right back. I have my pocket piece all flattened out. My lips are good. It's all ironed out. Now I'm gonna take this to the sewing machine and do a top stitch along the top, all right? Not here. We're not closing this. We're not doing a top stitch here, okay? No top stitch. This should still be open. We're gonna do a top stitch right across here. Once again, a top stitch on the top, right across, not in here. Okay, so I went and top stitched the top. Remember, not here. We're not top stitching this, okay? We're not top stitching this. Now, what I'm gonna do is grab one of my lining pieces. And what I'm gonna do is I'm going to fold it in half, right? So basically I'm finding the middle. This is one of the easiest way to find the middle. If you want to be a complicated person and you know, get your ruler out and do all that other stuff, go ahead, more power to you. But I'm gonna fold that in half. Now I'm gonna take my pocket piece, do the exact same thing, fold it in half. Oops. Now I'm gonna open up my lining first, because my lining has the crease and it's going to keep the crease a little bit better than the pocket's going to be, right? So typically, me personally, I like to do about 3 inches down. You can grab a ruler to see how far down 3 inches is. Completely up to you. Me, I'm going to eyeball it because I do these a lot, so I typically know exactly where I want to place it. So when I go to open this, on the middle, right there. So it's in the middle right there. Boom. Now it's in the middle. Now, if you believe it's straight, you like the placement of it, like exactly where it's at. Now we're just gonna pin this in place. All right, we're gonna pin this in place. Now, I want you to pay attention. Now, you can take and put as many pins as you want. Me, personally, I just like to do, I don't need that many pins. I just do a couple of them, right? Now, pay attention to this. When you go to sew this, you're going to sew straight down. Once again, turn the corner, go right across here, closing up this lip, and then go right back up here. You know, back stitch and stuff, everything, everybody should already know that. I shouldn't have to tell you that. Now, the one thing you're going to do is right there in that middle is that you're going to do a stitch right here in the middle. I'm going to do a stitch right there in the middle. So it's going to give you 2 pockets, that stitch. So right here, you can go right up here in the middle. All right. So when we sew, we're going to sew here, come across, come up, and then, cut everything off. Then come here and then come right in the middle and sew right there. All right, so once again, one more time. Down, across, up, then up. All right, go do that and I'll be right back. All right, so our pattern, our pocket's done. So you should literally have 2 pockets. These pockets are pretty deep and they're pretty nice. Like, so if you want to put your cell phone in, it's right there on the top. Okay, it's right there. So whatever you decide you want to put in here, you can put in here. We have a pocket. We've done our first pocket so far. Now, we're just gonna go and just do everything that we've normally done. Take our lining pieces, put them right sides together. Take our exterior piece, put them right sides together. And if you remember the first video, you already know how to sew this. All right, I'm not even going to tell you how. That's how I know if you're following along or not. All right, you're going to go ahead and just sew this right together. We're not going to, one thing we're not going to do, we're not going to put them together. We're just going to sew them. Meaning we're not going to try and stick the lining into the, we're not going to stick the lining into the exterior and things of that nature. The only thing we're going to do, we're going to have two pieces now. Now, remember, with the lining, we still want that 6-inch gap. You have to remember that. Also, remember the box corners. If you don't remember how to do this stuff, go back to the other previous video and watch how to do the box corners again. All right? So, go ahead and head over to the sewing machine, and I'll meet you back here. Now that we have everything sewn together, everything is good. Remember, we still have our slit right down in here. We didn't sew this closed, remember? Hopefully you guys remember that. The lining part, this doesn't get so close. I want you to be able to see my hand, see? All right. Now we're going to take and put that off to the side. Now, grab your straps. And if you have a ruler laying around, grab a ruler. Because typically, once again, I eyeball it. But they're 3 inches again. So I'm going to take 3 inches from the side and put my strap right there. And then I'm going to take and pin. You can pin, clip, or whatever. Make sure it only goes through one side, the pin, all right? However you decide you want to put the pin in, all right? We're going to do the same thing. Now, when we do this, I like to tell, when you do this straight, go like this, and then just go straight up. I don't want this to turn or rip, or not rip, but turn or be crooked or anything. So straight. And just go straight to here. So another 3 inches from the side. See, I'm pretty good. Didn't really need to know it because I'm pretty good with eyeballing it, all right? We got that pin. Going to flip this over. Do the exact same thing to the other side. Here. 3 inches from the side. Again, straight, straight, straight. Just take it and just flip it right there. All right. Again, 3 inches from the side. Pin it. Now we take our lining piece, flip that back outside this way, right sides together. When we're gonna put this in. Find the sides, put the sides together. Put the sides together, make sure the sides are matching. And pin. Same thing. Make sure the sides are touching. You should already know this part from the last video. Should already know this part. Sides touching here. I don't have to go any further. Only thing you're going to do now is go around and top stitch. That's it. Go around here and top stitch. So just like the last video, we're going to do the exact same thing we did like the last video. And we're just going to top stitch around. Make sure that we top stitch where our handles are at. Me personally, when I'm top stitching around this and I get to a handle, I like to back stitch a couple times. Do it again over here. Back stitch a couple times just to make it a little bit stronger, okay? All right, I'll see you back. So we have finished our second bag, right? So remember, once again, we take it over to the ironing board. Once we flip it inside out and flip it through and things, and we push the lining in, we flip take it to the ironing board. We iron around it. Then we go ahead and top stitch. Like the last mistake, I did make a mistake last time, and I did fix it in the previous video. The first video, we go in here and we find, once we tab this top stitch, we go back up in here and we find this, put the lips together, take it to the iron it down, or if you don't need to, you can go ahead and just top stitch right over that to close those lips. All right, so we have our second bag from just one pattern. That's it. One pattern. It's the same exact pattern. So if you like what you've seen so far, if you enjoyed yourself, please like, subscribe, and share. Also, if you are following along, my Instagram and my Facebook page will be in the description below. Hey, tag me in what you're making. Tag me in the bags that you're making. If you're following along and you're making, I want to see your bags. So do that for me. All right. Hey, thank you for tuning in with PQF Academy.